Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel Firdaus Moroccan Cuisine. In today's video I'm gonna be sharing with you one of the most delicious yet the easiest recipe that we make in Morocco. It's beef meatball tagine with eggs and served with salad and olives. So for the ingredients I have here 4 eggs, and of course the number of eggs depends on the number of people in the family. And for the spices I have a mixture of 1 teaspoon of paprika, half teaspoon of ground cumin, half teaspoon of black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, and half teaspoon of salt, and of course salt based on the taste. So all these spices I'm gonna put half of it on the ground beef and then the other half on the sauce. I will also need about 4 tablespoons of mixture of chopped cilantro and parsley together, so about a bunch of one bunch of mixture of both. And I have 3 medium tomatoes, again based on the family size, that I put in the food processor. And I have 3 cloves of garlic that I chopped very fine, and 3 hot peppers. If you like spicy food you can use, if not you don't have to, but they give the sauce a very nice flavor. And I have 2 medium chopped onions as well. And for olive oil I will need about 2 to 3 tablespoons. It depends on how fatty is the beef. And I have about 500 grams of ground beef, lean ground beef. You can use extra lean if you like, but this one, that's what I found. I put lean, but sometimes I make it with extra lean just to avoid that fatness. So for the seasoning of the meat I add a little bit of that onion quantity that I have, just about a quarter of it, and I put a little bit of cilantro and parsley, a little bit of garlic, and then I'm gonna add some of those spices that I have. So for paprika I just added half of the quantity, same thing with cumin, a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of turmeric, and a little bit of salt. The only thing I didn't add on the meat is ginger. I will add it to the sauce. So half the ingredients in the meat and half in the sauce. So after finishing marinating the meat, I'm gonna start now cooking the sauce. And for the pot that I'm using the clay tagine. And again, as I mentioned in some of my videos before, if you bought a new clay tagine and you want me to show you how to treat it and keep it for a long time, I can make a video on that. That's based on request. So here I'm using again an old pancake pan that I don't use anymore. It's heavy metal, so I put it under the tagine, so that way it reduces the heat and my tagine can last longer. So I'm gonna put olive oil, about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil into the tagine. And then it takes a while for it to heat, so make sure you put the heat on medium. And I'm gonna add the onions and continue. So while the oil is preheating, and to save time, so I'm gonna bring now the meat that I marinated. I'm gonna start making medium-sized meatballs out of it. Again, this is about 500 grams, and the quantity depends on the family size. If you are a big family, then of course you double the ingredients, or you can make less as well. Continue. So now that the oil is heated, we're gonna add the rest of the onions. We will also add the garlic. And we're gonna cover to cook a little bit, and we'll add the rest of the ingredients. So now that our onions and garlic is softened, we're gonna add the tomato. Now if you want to add some tomato sauce, it's optional. I personally don't like tomato sauce in it, like the concentrated one, so I just add fresh tomato. Okay, and I'll add the cilantro and parsley, so about 4 tablespoons. and I add all the spices, the rest of the spices. So here, after I cooked the tomatoes for about 10 minutes, of course I kept stirring it from time to time, and the reason for that is I want to make sure that I place the meatballs after the sauce is thickened. So don't put the meatballs right after when you start to cook the tomatoes, but rather make sure that that water that comes from the tomatoes is less and the sauce is kind of thick before you add the meatballs, if that makes sense. Once the sauce was boiled, I put in all the meatballs. Now I'm gonna let them cook a little bit from the bottom, and then I'm gonna flip them to cook from the other side, and we're gonna add the eggs, and actually I'm gonna add these ones right now, and then leave it until it's cooked. So right by now you have to reduce the heat. So as you can see now, the meatballs are strong enough to mix them. So just go like this, so the bottom side will come up, and then the top side will go down, so they can cook very well. So we just leave it until the sauce is a little bit reduced, and then I want to test the salt, if it needs more or it's good. Perfect. Okay. So our meatballs are ready. So what I did actually, when I saw that there is a little bit of oil coming out of the meat, so I had to remove that. But if you're someone who likes things oily, then you can keep it, but I just remove it. So right now what I'm going to do is add the eggs. So I add one at a time, and I put one of the areas. I'll just make a place for it, put it in. That's it. So now I'm gonna leave it again until it cooks very well by itself, until all the eggs are cooked. So there you have it, our tagine, meatball tagine with eggs. So you can either make sandwiches with it, or you can eat it like this with bread and salad, some olives, and some water or smoothie. So that's our dinner. This is the end of our video. I hope you'll try today's recipe, and if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, and share with your friends and family so my channel can grow. Also, I would like to say that some of the videos that are coming up next now is going to be about outdoor activities and walks around the city, as well as some gardening activities that I'm doing in my own backyard, and I'm going to be sharing with you how I designed my backyard and the things that I did to make it like a beautiful space to sit in during the summer.